Okay, so I, male 19, am babysitting my little sister, female 15, while our parents are on a trip internationally. It's like a completely different time zone, and the signal sucks. They get home in like 6 days. But we are both pretty self sufficient and felt like it would be fine. And my parents left us food and money and stuff. We've been Gucci for a whole week so far. Anyway, this morning, she got her period while we were just like sitting playing video games, and she got blood all over the couch. So I paused the game while she took care of it and put on a Tampad and didn't make a big deal of it. I was trying to be nice because I know it can make girls cranky and it hurts and stuff, so I got snacks and a blanket and whatever, and we kept playing. Well, like maybe 40 minutes later, she freaked out because she bled on the couch again, and I'm like, did you put the thing on wrong or what? So she changed again, and I even helped her clean the blood off the couch this time, and I figured she'd use a bigger feminine thing. MBD. Well, like 30 minutes after we start playing again, she pauses and goes to the bathroom, and I hear her scream, so I run over there thinking there's a spider or something. But she came out holding like this chunk. It was like a chunk of blood. But looking at it, I'm like, shoot, maybe that's an organ? Like, is that your kidney? But she was like, no, it's a clot. And she was freaking out about it. Which, yeah, it was gross. It was like the size of a hacky sack. So I'm like, okay, well, go flush your clot. Anyway, she cleans herself up, but then she said she doesn't want to play anymore. And I'm like, okay. So she spent an hour on the couch with her face all scrunched up, doing yoga breathing, and telling me her cramps were the worst ever. So I gave her Tylenol, but she wouldn't take it because she said she feels like she's gonna throw up. I brought her water and juice and warmed up that gel thing you stick on your stomach, you know? So I was trying to help. Well, then she says, oh no. And she gets up and goes to the bathroom, and as she's walking, she's got like blood going down her leg. She yelled for me from the bathroom, and I go in there, and she's sitting there, and I hear this plopping sound, and there's more of those chunks, like maybe 2 of them. And she says, I think we need to go to the ER. I'm like, why? And she tells me this is more blood than she's ever had, and she doesn't feel good. But periods are supposed to suck, right? And she wouldn't take the Tylenol either, so she didn't really try to manage it at home. So then she started yelling at me, telling me I have to take her because she can't drive, but I'm pretty sure our parents will unalive me if I take her to the ER for her period. Is that a thing? She's sitting in the shower now because she said she thought the warm water would feel good, and she was sick of bleeding on stuff, and it's more comfortable than the toilet. I asked her if she just needs a bigger Tampad, and she told me to stfew, so she's not even communicating with me at this point. I've asked her a few times if she's okay in there, and she tells me I'm bleeding out Mason. What do you think? So like she's not unconscious. Ida Cake, I don't know anything about this, but I also know she hates blood and flips out about any minor cut too. Is going to the ER because of a period a thing? Can you bleed too much? I thought there was only a certain amount of blood in the female genitalia every month. I feel like she'd be more comfortable at home anyway if she'd just take the Tylenol. I'd take what to do. My sister is like average teenage girl height, pretty skinny because she's a ballerina and doesn't eat meat. She takes Accutane for her pimples. I'm not sure if there's other stuff that's important. She's had her period for like a year now, I'm pretty sure. Maybe more. She takes Flintstone gummy vitamins sometimes, like the ones in the purple jar, and she's obsessed with Celsius energy drinks. She wears contacts, and she had her wisdom teeth removed 2 months ago. IDK, I want her to be okay and stuff, but I'm not sure the ER is a good choice. Help? Now for a few important comments. Is there any chance of pregnancy miscarriage? I mean, I don't think so. She doesn't have a boyfriend, and when I asked, she told me to frick off, so probably not tampons or pads. I asked, and she said she was using a tampon first, but after that, she used both to prevent leaks. So both, I guess. She said always with Wings and Tampax Sport. Commenter. If she's saturating more than 1 tampon in an hour, she should be seen. She said she was soaking both of them. So I guess we are going mini updates in comments. Okay, she's throwing some extra clothes and shoot in a bag. I'm trying to think what my mom would do, so I brought water bottles, sunscreen, and snacks, and something to do. Well, you don't need sunscreen at the hospital. Extra clothes, maybe a water bottle. Snacks are good. Insurance card, and call your parents. Didn't they leave another adult's number for you to call in an emergency? Do you have another relative? Oh, shoot, yeah, I gotta tell my parents. Frick. I mean, no, they didn't, but I think it's because I'm the adult. Any other adults? All our relatives live on the other side of the country, but like she has friends and they have moms, but she wasn't into the idea of asking them. Come, let this be a lesson to you. If a woman says, this is wrong, this doesn't seem normal, about her own body, try listening to her and not making her jump through hoops convincing you something is wrong while you ask the internet for advice. Just listen to her. Yeah, I was being a weenie. The sunscreen, yeah, lol. I didn't think about the fact that it's inside, just like my mom always yelling about sunscreen. Oop is encouraged to bring a comfort item for his sister. Okay, this makes me feel good because I packed her squishmallow, and I was kind of afraid to tell her I did that in case she thought it was embarrassing or some. I sent my mom a text in response to someone telling him to bring a bowl in case she vomits. Nah, for I wish I would have read this. She threw up in the car twice. She told me to stop driving like Stevie Wonder, and I swear I was laughing so hard I almost had to pull over. Commenter, it sounds like she is really comfortable with you. I mean, she let you help her clean up and showed you clots, and you didn't get all, ooh, I'm a guy, don't show me. Frankly, you are acting better than my husband would when it comes to helping. He'd never look at my blood or think to bring snacks. So you are doing pretty good, and she might not feel she needs another female. I mean, if I acted grossed out, she'd tell me to grow TF up, lol. My sister doesn't deal with stupid dudes, but yeah, we're close, and it's just blood, so. Okay, we got here. She threw up a couple times in the car, but she said she's good now. We walked in, and she was like dripping down her leg again, and they saw that at the desk, and maybe how freaking freaked I looked, lol, and took her back pretty much right away. Now for the post. Adding to this, because questions about her intimacy history and habits are definitely going to be asked, big bro, make it clear to her that if she wants you to leave, you will. If she wants you to stay, I would make it clear to her that you're not going to snitch on her about anything she says. If it's something that needs to be brought up to your parents, the docs can do that. It's not your job to tell your parents her answers. If you can't make her that promise, tell her you can't be in the room. No idiots here. I'm not saying shoot if I find anything out. She caught me smoking Zaza on the roof 2 years ago and still hadn't ratted, lol. Okay, so she's getting Zofran and fluids, and they're going to do an ultrasound in the room here. So far, we know she's not pregnant, and her labs, some of them weren't great. Hemoglobin was 6.8. That's basically the one I remember. She said to tell everyone, thank you for the advice and stuff. She also said to say she feels okay, just really tired. The tube sounds like a catheter. They may want a clean urine sample. The excessive bleeding can contaminate a urine sample and affect certain test results. Oh yeah, okay. They said they wanted a urine sample, but I was thinking, why can't she just pee in a cup? All right, the ultrasound was normal. She's being admitted. They want to test her for bleeding and clotting disorders now, and they're going to give her some blood. They asked if I know my blood type, which I don't, but I'm not sure why it matters. Sister is B+, though. I mean, tampod's a good way of saying tampon or pad. Kai agree, this is a useful neologism. OP, thanks. See, I'm not a fool. I'm just inventing new terms. You have properly unmouthed your foot, so don't be afraid to ask questions now. It's much better to ask questions so you don't have to worry or freak out about things you don't know or don't understand than to drive yourself mad with worry about something that might not warrant that worry or leaves you with unanswered questions. Best of luck to you and your sis. Was she happy you packed her squishmallow? Yeah, she's sleeping on the squishmallow like a pillow and told me it's the only reason she forgives me, lol. That's a good idea though. When she wakes up, I'll ask her. Commenter, if she gets admitted, you may want to consider making a trip home to pick up any comfort items either of you two need, like a book, laptop, or blanket. but only if your sister feels comfortable with that. So she packed clothes, and I packed her squishmallow and our switches so we would have stuff to do. But she didn't even want me to get up to go pee, so I don't think she wants me to leave. Lol. She's asleep now, though. Definitely not the worst way to have to spend time in a hospital, lol. Hope she turns out okay, though I'm extremely curious about what the root cause is, and if you both feel comfortable sharing, I'd love to know. Yeah, she said she doesn't care as long as I don't post any pics of her, because she said she looks like 2024 Amanda Bynes and Britney Spears combined, lol. Commenter. For future reference, you can call your doctor's office or an advice nurse with stuff like this. They will ask you a bunch of questions about what's going on and tell you what to do. Yeah, I was Googling, do you go to the ER for a bad period? And that's how I found the subreddit, lol. But if something ever happens again, that's probably a better bet. We both slept. Got a hold of our parents. My mom is looking for flights back home. Sister is feeling a lot better at this point. They gave her medicine to stop the bleeding. I wasn't expecting this to blow up the way it did, so there's no way I'll be able to answer everyone. She's doing okay, though. Should know more about the CT soon. Commenter. Mate, I grew up with a shitty big brother. And even now, as adults, I know he couldn't do half the job you've done of taking care of your little sis. You have restored my faith in humanity and big bros. Glad to see the night was uneventful and that you got hold of your parents. And whatever you do, don't forget to reapply your sunscreen often. Man, she changed my name in her phone to SPF. I'm never living this shoot down, lol. All right, her vitals now are 101, 65, and 80. So better. CT was good too. They're pretty sure she has a blood disorder. They're just waiting on the results of it. I guess when she had her wisdom teeth out, she bled more than she was supposed to. But I didn't know that before. So yeah, just waiting on that for now, but they don't think the issue is her uterus or whatever. Just wanted to also mention that I think your post has become the #1 post to have ever been on with the most engagement ever. Jesus flipping Christ, I'm kind of embarrassed, lol. I'm glad this is anonymous. All right, I'm going to try here instead of a post and hopefully be more covert, lol. But could someone that knows about it tell me about type 2 von Willebrand's, like the blood disorder? Because the internet says everything from like it's mild to it's life-threatening and IG. I just want to know more about it and like how it affects day-to-day life and stuff. I appreciate the help with my sister before too. It's cool you guys just do this. Comments on another sub. Yeah, it got scary fast. It was crazy. But like no one has ever brought up taking her to the ER for it before. So IDK, I thought maybe she was scared because our mom wasn't there to make her feel better, and I don't know anything about it. Now for the update. All right. So I guess I was posting updates in the comments, but it's better here. Anyway, so my sister is okay. She had some scans that were all fine, and they don't think she has fibroids or tumors or anything like that. She's feeling a little better, but still staying here at least another day. Our mom and dad are flying home tomorrow now. My mom was pissed. I texted her instead of calling at first, lol. Already had someone try to find me on Insta. So like if you know me or her, no you don't, lol. She doesn't want this going around school or whatever. So don't dox us for at least 3 years, lol. She's cool with me updating, though, without her name or whatever. Also, our parents don't know about this either. IDK. I feel like we should wait until it's been a few years to tell them too, so they don't unalive me, lol. She's gonna hold this shoot over my head forever, lol. Anyway, they think she has a blood disorder that makes her not clot, right? I'm not 100% sure how it works because she had big clots. But they said they're pretty sure that's what's going on because her PTT took longer than normal to clot. They're waiting on von Willebrand, SP, testing to come back, but they think she has type 2 probably. Gonna Google that tonight, BC IDK what that is, and I've never heard of it. So I guess if any of the doctors know what that is, or if this sounds like it LMK. Yeah, wasn't expecting this to blow up like this, lol. I thought this was just like doctors answering questions like a helpline. But my sister said thank you for everyone telling me to take her, and she's okay. They confirmed it's von Willebrand's. Anyway, it's genetic, so they want me to get tested too, but I've never had periods or surgery, so it wouldn't be as obvious. There's still more testing, like more specific to the type. But anyway, my sister's good and we have an answer. She's going to talk to a hematologist next week about what that means. Now for the 1-week update. So I also have von Willebrands. So does our mom. I've always bruised a lot and got super bad nosebleeds, but I was also a fool kid/teen who thought life was an audition for Jackass, so I didn't think it was weird. Anyway, we're all about to be real familiar with hematology, and my mom is pissed she's been told some women just bleed more her whole life. Guess my mom and sister weren't just exaggerating when they would say they were bleeding out. So yeah, if you're a girl reading this and you bleed as much as my sister, you should see a doctor. Hopefully. No one gets gaslit like my mom did. Here's a public apology for being ignorant on what y'all actually go through because I thought you could only bleed so much a month. Fully willing to admit how stupid that was. Now for another post on the same day. Hi, so it's me again, male 19, apparently not that smart, questioning my career goals as a teacher. Anyway, my sister was on her period and thought she needed to go to the ER, and she actually did. I've got another question now, but first, thank you to everyone who answered my first post and educated me because she was in rough shape. Except for the girl who suggested drinking whole milk. Even I'm not that stupid. Anyway, my sister has von Willebrand's disease, type 2. My mom and I also have it, apparently. My mom just got gaslit for years about how much she bled, and it took my sister almost dying for us to all get diagnosed. Anyway, I play on a recreational rugby league. I'm going to have to pay dues soon, and I don't want to be out the money if I'm going to get told I shouldn't play anymore because it's a contact sport. But I don't see a hematologist for 5 weeks since I'm not urgent. So I was wondering if any of the doctors know if I'm going to get told I probably shouldn't play rugby anymore. I also like rock climbing. Is that going to be out? Should I learn chess or crochet or something? Thanks again. Now for a few comments. Commenter, if you aren't confirmed yet, don't play contact sports right now until at least you get testing. Okay, yeah, it's confirmed I have it, but I don't know the types and letters and stuff. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna go learn how to play snooker then. Thanks. I'm a lurker here because I'm not a doctor, but I am a teacher, and I do remember your post. Teaching is a lovely career, and the profession would benefit from someone as compassionate as you. Lol. One thing is for sure, no students will get sunburned on my watch. Thank you so much for this update. Not only is it interesting, but it furthers all of our professional knowledge base when we are able to hear how things turned out. Good luck to you and your family. And I'm glad that your mom's medical issues have finally been validated. That's huge. Oh yeah, I mean, she's in her 40s. She'll unalive me if I say exactly how old though. So I can't believe she's been suffering for 30-something years. She said she's about to write a big "I told you so" to every doctor who ever told her to get used to it. Commenter. Dead serious, no pun intended. You should take up comedy. The ones that are the funniest are the ones that don't understand how funny they are. I'm glad your sister is okay, and I hope you're good too. Oh yeah, I'm totally good. Thanks, man. Showed this to my sister and she said, "Tell them you're already insufferable as it is. The last thing you need is an audience." Savage. You'll know more after your consultation. There are different types of von Willebrands, so what applies to your sister and your mom will not necessarily apply to you. I'm glad you guys got to the bottom of it, and I am extremely disheartened to hear that your mother was gaslit her entire life about her symptoms. There's not really an excuse from the medical community for that, and I'm sorry. Hey, thanks. It's good to know it might not be the same. Honestly, I'm surprised I made it this far without my brain bleeding because I was the poster child for ADHD. One more sunscreen comment. My dad's been calling me Banana Boat since they got back. Rip any game I had. Final fun comment, commenter. Please accept this version of an award because there's no way I'm paying for them through here. But, dude, the sunscreen, I feel like this should be as well known on Reddit as the poop knife. I don't know what poop knife is, but I'm honored. Am I the idiot for refusing to babysit my spoiled stepsister and moving out after my dad called me selfish. I, female 17, am graduating, and my friends and I have already planned a trip to a cabin for the summer before we start college. I have been a babysitter since I was 13, so I have saved up a considerable amount of money. When I was 15, my dad got remarried about a year and a half after my mom passed away. My dad's wife had a 13-year-old daughter, and as soon as we moved in together, they started to push her off on me and force us to do everything together. I don't like my stepsister. She's always throwing tantrums if she doesn't get what she wants. She's spoiled to the point that at my 16th birthday, she got her own special cake so she wouldn't feel left out. And she also blew out the candles on my cake. And when I complained, my dad told me, "It's time to grow up. Being a sister is about sharing things." I told him I didn't have a sister, and I guess she overheard and she went on a rampage. The party was ruined. I distanced myself more from them after that. I'm forced to either take her with me to places or stay home with her if I can't take her, or my dad or dad's wife can't watch her or don't want to deal with her. Imagine everything that I said she does with my dad and his wife onto a 15, 17-year-old me. I was forced to take her bowling with me, and she would not stop trying to dig her hands in the part where the balls come out, and she tried running down the lane, so I had to take her home, and my night was ruined. This happens a lot, but they don't care. I have tried to keep this trip a secret from her, but when I was in my room on the phone talking about it over pizza and music, I found out she snuck in and hid in the closet and was eavesdropping. She burst out asking if she could come, and I told her no and to get out. She started stomping her feet, and she ran out. My friends begged me to not invite her. My dad called me downstairs and asked if she could go, because she could use a vacation. And I told him I'm not taking her. They can take her on a vacation, but I'm not watching her for almost 3 weeks alone. My dad's wife called me selfish, and that my dad was paying for a portion of it anyway. And if Lily doesn't go, then I don't get to go. I told her she doesn't get a say in any of this. She's not my mom, and to stop forcing her child on me when she created what she is. Lily starts yelling at me about not being a big sister, and I don't want to spend time with her. I snap and tell her I don't. She ran away crying, and my dad said he won't pay for the rest of my trip if I don't take her. So I told him, if he does, that I will not be talking to him anymore, nor will I forgive him for it. He said I'm being dramatic, and she isn't bad. So I grabbed a bag and went to my aunt's house, my mom's sister, and told her what happened. And she said she would put up what he took away, and when I go to college, I can stay with her. I told my dad what I was doing, and he blew up at me and said I was being a brat and they're my family now and not my aunt. As far as I know, she does not have any disabilities. She's been to doctors and therapy. She's just insanely spoiled, and that's how she's always gotten her way when told no. The first time I met her, everyone agreed on Mexican, except her, and she was yelling in the car for 10 minutes before she calmed down by her mom appeasing her. Then she goes back on her phone texting. If she does, then that explains why she acts that way. And I can take it that she can't help it, but I still shouldn't be forced to watch her 24/7. Now for a few important comments. Your aunt is acting more of a family than your dad. I agree. See if you can live with your aunt now. Are you dependent on your dad for college? I am not. My mom left me money for 2 years. I decided to do an RN program and then go back once I work and save up more money. If you are being truthful about Lily's behaviors, it sounds like she has some sort of emotional or intellectual impairment. Has she had a formal diagnosis? No, she is just extremely spoiled and acts like this to get her way. She knows she just has to cry a bit and stomp around and they'll give in. She does not have any mental problems. She's just spoiled. She's been to doctors and therapy. To a deleted and downvoted comment. I don't have, nor did I want a sister. It's not even like they tried to slowly bring us together. They forced her on me. She constantly throws tantrums, so if any small thing is about me, she needs to be the center of attention. She may be a child, but she is not my child, and I shouldn't have had to become a parent because of my dad's wife's lack of parenting. How far away from 18 are you? I would slowly start moving important things to your aunt's house and then move in the day you turn 18. Make sure you let your school know not to contact your dad anymore and that you are living with your aunt. I turn 18 in September. I have read the comments and I am making lists of everything I need to get and put at my aunt's house. On being the bigger person. I don't have to be the bigger person. I'm tired of being neglected and having her forced on me. I'm going on this trip without her, and if that ends up with me not talking to my dad anymore, so be it. He's the adult and parent here. Now for the 6-month update. I know a lot of people wanted an update to my last post. The trip happened and I did not end up taking her like I said I wasn't. From the time that I posted that up until the time that I left, the household was very tense and awkward. And I was not speaking to any of them. The only person I had to confide in and talk to was my aunt, and I'm so grateful for her. My dad still thought that I was going to bring her on the trip, and I kept telling him that I am not watching her and she is not coming with me. The morning of the trip, we left at like 6 in the morning. When he called me, I was already about 5 hours out, so he couldn't do anything. When I got back, it was a lot of yelling and crying from me and my dad and his wife. She said that I left them in a tough position and they had to stay home because they couldn't get anyone to watch Lily. My dad and I had a serious talk for hours, and he agreed that maybe we need to separate so we can work on our relationship, which hurt me because I would have liked for him to tell me I can stay in my own home while we do it. But I did end up going to my aunt's house with no issues. My dad and I started family therapy with just the two of us. His wife was pretty upset. He was actually listening to me and was seeing where I was coming from. Right when we were getting good and building a better relationship, I came over for dinner and he asked if we could integrate his wife and Lily into therapy. And I told him that I had no interest in having a relationship with them. She called me a selfish C and that I need to be grateful that she let me stay with them after she moved in. I waited for my dad to correct her and he was silent pretty much, so I left and I haven't talked to him in almost a month. He keeps showing me that he will not be on my side. So to wrap things up, the cabin trip was so much fun. I have never felt so free from a burden. The trip was in June and we were there for almost a month. We extended it. When I was packing for school, my dad came to visit, and I guess his wife called, and he had to lie about where he was because I guess she doesn't want him to see me. So I told him, we don't need to have contact right now or continue therapy because it's clear which part of his family he cares more about. I don't know what's going to become of my dad, and right now, I don't care. I'm focused on school and studying to become a nurse. I don't want any negativity to ruin this experience, but I'd be lying if I said it doesn't hurt that I don't have a parent to experience this with. But my aunt says she is my surrogate mom and to share all my worries and success with her. I am currently in my first week of college, and the amount of freedom I feel here is also so new. I am a little overwhelmed, but I am in an honors club. I also am in a creative writings book club, and the friends I have made are so amazing. I am currently living on campus, and I have never been better mentally. I am getting separate therapy to deal with my mom's death because that was never offered to me by my dad. My aunt has truly become a mother figure to me. Being 2 states away from her is really hard, but I can't wait for weekend visits and holiday visits. Also, another thing is that I'm going to be a godmother. My aunt was told at 22 that she would never be able to have kids, and she is currently 4 months pregnant, and I'm so excited because if anybody is going to be a good mother, I know it's going to be her. When she came to visit and tell me, I think she saw I was a little worried. I told her I am so excited and happy for her, and nothing will change that. But she's the only family I have right now, and don't want to get left behind like I did at home. And we cried, and she promised me that she was filling in for my mom, and she will be there for the rest of my life, whether I like it or not. I am planning the baby shower, and I can't wait for the baby to be here. But yeah, that's it. Thank all for checking up on me and giving me encouraging words. Now, for a few important comments. I just don't understand how your dad doesn't see that Lily is a massive problem if they have to hire a babysitter at her age or being 15, and they were stuck at home with her as a result. He doesn't want to see it, or he does and cares more about keeping his wife happy. Also, what do you write about in this writer's club? Bring in work you have written and share it. Write flash fiction from the same prompt. Write poems. Watch videos or lectures about writing techniques. Talk about writing contests or places to submit stories. We're talking about incorporating improv so we can be creative that way with our stories. Commenter, downvoted. I feel like you should have set some better boundaries instead of just giving up. You need to lay it out for him. Do you really think she's good for your life if she's keeping you away from your daughter? Are you really a man and a father? If you're going to let a woman dictate what you can and can't do, I would tell him straight up, you don't have the luxury of giving up because you made me. So I would appreciate if you get a goddamn backbone and start acting like it. That's fair, and I respect your opinion, but it's not my job to try and fix anything or set boundaries anymore. We did talk about it in therapy, and he still tried to integrate them into the sessions, when I have expressed hundreds of times I do not want that. So I'm done trying. I'm the child in this situation. Am I the idiot for being blindsided by my boyfriend's sudden fear of marriage and leaving me heartbroken after 5 years? My partner is my rock, and I'm his. Literally, he tells me that all the time, including yesterday. We've been together for 5 years and have a truly wonderful relationship. Always talking, laughing, comfortable with one another. Able to communicate healthily even when we disagree. After surviving abuse as a child and struggling with unhealthy romantic relationships in the past, the fact that we love each other in a respectful, secure, and profoundly healthy way is truly my biggest blessing, and I wake up every day so happy and grateful for him. He is an incredible man with so much drive, intelligence, kindness, and gifts to give the world. About 1.5 years ago, it came up for the first time that we saw ourselves getting married one day. It was such a beautiful moment, and it rocked my world to have been vulnerable, said those words, and have him say them too. Since then, it's been something incredibly happy that I get to hold in my heart and look forward to. The subject has come up sporadically since then, but I haven't wanted to push it too far since we are young and it is very much an eventually thing. Both of our parents are divorced and his come from money. He got a lot of strong advice growing up not to marry young and to protect his assets, to see it from a more financial view than I ever have thought of it. Nevertheless, the thought makes me happy, and we often daydream about the future we'll build together. The little house in New Hampshire we hope to buy, and the dogs and chickens we'll have. These are conversations he participates in and brings up on his own all the time. I want to be able to talk casually about the marriage aspect too. Go to bed with a sleepy, can't wait to marry you, or love of my life. But for some reason recently, whenever the subject has come up, he's clammed up and made it feel really serious. This culminated maybe 2 months ago with a really weird conversation in which I sensed he might not have processed what marriage really means in the way that I had, and that he wasn't ready to be talking about this in the way that I was or as much as he had let on. I told him I don't want to put a gun to his head. This is just something that makes me happy to think about and talk about, and I tell him everything. I said I love him for him, I'd wait as long as he needs, but that I firmly didn't want to bring up the subject again until he was comfortable discussing it. I wanted to relieve the pressure on him, and I haven't mentioned it since. Well, yesterday, we spent a really lovely day getting lunch and hiking with my family. They live far away, so we don't see them very often. My stepsister and her fiancé were there as well, and of course, there was a little bit of light conversation about their upcoming wedding. My boyfriend was his usual friendly, easygoing self. I noticed he seemed quiet on the way home, and later that evening, so I asked if he was worried about work, but he just said he was tired from a long day traveling. I made him a drink, kissed him on the forehead like I always do, and promised we could do whatever he wanted to relax that night. Just did what I normally do when I can tell he's stressed, try to show empathy and take care of him. But then as I'm making dinner, he comes over to me and drops this bomb. He came over to me crying and said, spending time with an engaged couple and even barely talking about their wedding had sent him into a panic, and he didn't know if he could ever see himself getting married. I was completely blindsided. I tried to parse what he was saying, but it was like my brain was stuck. Evidently, he had been locking himself in his office at work all week, crying about this. I kept asking him why he would say he wanted to marry me if he didn't. He said he was lying, basically, that he wanted to give me what he knew I wanted to make me happy. I could only just stare at him open-mouthed. I kept trying to pinpoint if he was saying to me, I don't think I'll be ready to get married for a long time. Or I don't think I'll ever be ready to get married. And I really don't think he knows himself. I don't think he has put any kind of mature thought into marriage at all. It was like talking to a scared child. He kept saying stuff about not knowing where his career will lead, or if he'll have money. He has a great job, an outstanding network, and is definitely not poor. Neither of us are. And I was just like, we're a partnership. You wanted to be with me yesterday, you want to be with me today, do you want to be with me tomorrow? Yes, he said. I said, well, that's all what matters. We have a life we love, and we'll take on the future together when it comes. I'm devastated. He left for his mother's house, and I don't know when he'll be home. I cannot take another sleeping pill or my heart will stop, but I can't sleep a wink. I literally spiked 100-degree fever and spent all night sweating and freezing. I had no idea it was possible to be in so much pain it makes you physically sick. This person is the bedrock of my life. We have always had rock-solid confidence that we can trust each other, be vulnerable around each other, and be our full authentic selves without inhibition or fear of judgment. We share everything together and we are best friends. He even said that over and over as he sobbed and told me he loved me and that he didn't want to get married. Hours ago, I had the most beautiful and solid relationship in the world. Now, I don't know if we're going to break up. I'm reeling. I feel like I've been stabbed in the back by my safe space. The earth fell out from under me, and I don't even know what to think anymore. Now for the update. I just want to say thank you to every person who commented. I was in an absolute state while writing my original post, and truly thought 8 people would see it. I read every comment. The kind and empathetic advice I received gave me a little bit of hope and peace as I waited, and that was basically the only reason I was able to eat lunch those first 2 days. I want to thank all of you for that. The long and short of it is, he left me. I called him the next day, asking when he would come home. He'd told me he needed a day to think, but he was talking like we were broken up. I asked him to at least tell me we're still together. He wouldn't. So yeah, he just torched it in pretty much an instant. I had been leaning a lot on the kind words I received from folks who reassured me that one fight does not need to derail everything we've built over the last 5 years. I took the perspective that the question of marriage was something that we'd need to discuss seriously and hopefully through therapy to arrive at what both of us want. I had no idea he would just upend the table with no warning, without ever expressing his feelings or giving us the chance to address it with even a single conversation. So many of the comments I received revolved around the question, is not marrying him a deal breaker for you? Would you be okay with simply a long-term relationship? I don't know. I would have to search my soul for that answer. But I didn't even get the chance. He made that choice for me. 5 beautiful years and he just left. Needless to say, there were a million better ways to do this while honoring his fears and feelings while still showing me an ounce of respect as his partner and someone who loves him. This owed a conversation, and even if we still reached the same conclusion, I would understand. But this, it's not what I deserve. I did see him one night, and we have been texting. He said all of this awful stuff about how he was just trying to tell me everything I wanted to hear, and how I wouldn't like the person he really is underneath all of his people-pleasing. He's got a lot of this don't talk about it, just run in his family, including in his parents' relationships. My partner has always said he doesn't respect this kind of behavior and talked vehemently about how his values are different. Then he just did the same thing. Although when I wrote my original post, I wanted nothing more than to continue living our happy day-to-day together. But given this entire nightmare, space is the only thing that can do anything for either of us at this point. He has no idea what he's feeling or how to talk about it in a healthy way. My dad had the simplest take and yet said it best. He's immature. He needs to work on himself, and I hope he does. As for me, I'd be an idiot to still want to marry him, knowing this is the kind of thing he's capable of. So, we've got to break our lease. Apartment hunting while still reeling from this 180 flip of my life has been terrible. We moved to this city together, and pretty much every friend I have I met through him. So I'm really scared it will mean losing a lot of other people I love too. It's going to be expensive and miserable to live on my own, and I'm still grieving my sweet love and the life I thought we were going to have together. I gave 5 years of my life and so much of myself to being one half of that partnership. I never wanted to be on my own again, and now I am. I still love him, but I can't wait around while he fixes himself or pine foolishly hoping one day he'll wake up and be ready for me. I don't want to stand on my own 2 feet, but that's just what I have to do. My question now is, how do I move on? If when we do eventually talk, what can I even say?